You've probably spent many nights wondering what they're doing right now. You imagine them happy, or maybe even moving on as if you never existed. But there is a hidden reality playing out behind closed doors that you weren't meant to see. It's a physical manifestation of a mind that is finally beginning to eat itself alive because the person who kept them stable is gone. Have you ever noticed that strange, frantic energy they get when they lose control? It's subtle at first, but it grows. When you finally stop responding, when you finally choose yourself, something happens to them that they can't hide with words. They begin to scratch. Not because of an itch, but because the silence you've created is starting to burn through their very skin. I want you to take a deep breath and realize that your absence is doing something your presence never could. It is forcing them to sit with the one person they hate most, themselves. Without your energy to feed on, they are starving. And when a predator starves, it starts to pick at its own reflection. That face they used to charm you is now a reminder of everything they've lost. It's a haunting image, isn't it? The person who seemed so composed and powerful, now sitting in the dark, mindlessly clawing at their cheeks or forehead. They are trying to find a way to let the pressure out. The sadness they feel isn't like your sadness. It's a hollow, agonizing hunger that has no destination. They are scratching at the door of a house that is completely empty. You might feel a flicker of pity hearing this, but I want you to stay grounded in the truth. This scratching is the physical evidence of their internal collapse. They aren't missing your soul, they are missing the mirror you provided. Without that mirror, they don't know if they even exist. The skin becomes a barrier they are trying to break through just to feel a single spark of reality. Think back to the times they made you feel like you were the crazy one. They were so polished, so sure of themselves, while you were the one falling apart. Now, the roles have reversed in the most literal way. Your silence has become a high-pitched frequency they can't turn off. Every time their hand goes to their face, it's an admission of defeat they would never tell you out loud. This isn't just a nervous habit. It's a symptom of a psychological breakdown. When you went no contact, you cut off the oxygen to their ego. Now they are gasping for air, and the scratching is how they try to regulate a nervous system that was never built to handle genuine loneliness. They are trapped in a body that is finally telling the truth about the chaos living inside of them. I'm telling you this because I want you to see the secret knowledge of their decline. They want you to think they are thriving, but the marks on their skin say otherwise. They are mourning the loss of their power over you, and that mourning is violent. It's a slow burn realization that they have finally met a wall they cannot manipulate, your beautiful, silent, and firm boundary. Why the face though? Why is that the target of their frustration? It's because the face is the mask. It's the tool they use to lure you in and the shield they use to hide their shame. By scratching it, they are subconsciously attacking the very thing that failed to keep you trapped. The mask is cracking, and they are the ones doing the damage because they can't handle the truth. Stay with me because we are going to go deeper into the why behind this behavior. We're going to look at the mechanics of this collapse. You need to understand that your decision to stay away is the most powerful thing you've ever done. You aren't just protecting yourself. You are finally letting the natural consequences of their behavior take root in their own physical reality. To understand the scratching, you have to understand the void. A narcissist doesn't have a stable core. They are a hollow shell held together by the attention of others. When you went no contact, you didn't just leave a relationship. You removed the structural support for their entire identity. Now, the walls are closing in, and they are starting to feel the weight of being. Think of their skin as the only thing keeping the darkness inside from spilling out. In their world, if they aren't being watched, validated, or feared, they are dissolving. The scratching is a desperate attempt at grounding. They need to feel a physical sensation to remind themselves that they are still there. Even pain is better than the terrifying numbness of being truly forgotten. When they feel sad about your absence, it isn't the grief you feel. It's a narcissistic injury. It's the shock of a machine that has lost its power source. They are scratching their face because the internal pressure of their own shame is seeking an exit point. They have no healthy way to process emotion, so it manifests as a somatic compulsion. Their body is betraying them. It's a form of displacement. They can't attack you anymore. They can't reach out and drain your energy or stir up drama to make themselves feel alive. So, they turn that aggressive energy inward. The face is the most sensitive area, the place where we communicate. By marking it, they are expressing the ugliness they usually project onto you. For once, the poison is staying inside the bottle. Imagine the internal dialogue during these moments. It's a loop of, how dare they, and where is my supply? This loop creates a physical tension that travels up the spine and into the jaw and face. The scratching provides a temporary release of dopamine and endorphins, a sick kind of self-soothing for a person who never learned how to be human. It is a primitive response. They are also trying to fix something that feels wrong. In their mind, if they could just scratch away the discomfort, everything would go back to normal. But the discomfort is the reality of their own soul. You were the one who polished their image for years. You were the one who told them they were good. Without your voice, they are left with the echoing silence of their own malice. You see, a narcissist's face is their greatest asset. It's the carefully curated image of the good person or the victim. When they scratch it until it's red and raw, they are destroying their own currency. It's a sign that the executive function of their brain is failing. They are losing the ability to maintain the facade even for themselves. The inner child is throwing a tantrum. This behavior is often seen in people who lack object constancy. When you are out of sight, they feel a sense of annihilation. The scratching is a way to stay awake through the nightmare of being alone. It's a repetitive, rhythmic motion that acts as a ritual to ward off the existential dread that you are truly done with them. They are fighting the ghost of your presence. It's important to realize they aren't doing this to get your sympathy, because they don't want you to see it. They want you to think they are perfect. This is what happens in the shadows. It's the secret truth of their fragility. The monster you feared is actually a shivering, frantic mess who can't even keep their hands off their own skin when the lights go out and you aren't there. This realization should give you a sense of profound clarity. All that power they seem to have over you was borrowed. It was actually your power all along. Now that you've taken it back, they are left with a deficit so deep it's causing their nervous system to short-circuit. The scratching is the sound of the machine breaking down. It's the beginning of the end of their mask. There is a specific kind of panic that sets in for them when the silence becomes permanent. In the beginning, they thought you'd fold. They waited for the text, the call, or the apology for things you didn't even do. But as the weeks turn into months, the reality sinks in. You are truly gone. This is the turning point where the psychological stress transforms into something physical. The scratching becomes more frequent now. It happens during the hoovering phase when they realize their messages are being ignored. Every time they check their phone and see no notification from you, the itch returns. It's a spike of cortisol that has nowhere to go. They reach up, and their fingernails find the familiar spots. They are literally being eaten by their own ego. This is the moment they realize they no longer exist in your world. To a narcissist, being ignored is a fate worse than death. It is the ultimate humiliation. The scratching is their way of acknowledging the sting of your absence. They are marked by you, even in your silence. Every red streak on their face is a testament to the fact that you have finally become the one in control. Watch how the power shifts. You are likely healing, perhaps slowly, but you are moving forward. You are learning to breathe again. Meanwhile, they are stuck in a loop of self-destruction. The more they try to find a replacement for you, the more they realize that new supply doesn't taste the same. No one knew them like you did, and that knowledge is now a weapon of silence. They begin to look haggard. The stress of the no contact begins to age them overnight. The scratching leaves scars, both visible and invisible. They might try to cover it with makeup or excuses about allergies or stress, but you know the truth. You know that it's the physical manifestation of a psychological parasite that has no host left to feed on. They are starving out. Have you ever felt that pull to check on them? That urge to see if they're okay? That is the old trauma bond talking. But imagine them in this state, scratching, frantic, and hollow. Would you really want to go back and be this soothing balm for someone who would set you on fire just to stay warm? Your absence is the only thing that is honest in their life right now. Let it stay. The turning point is when you stop feeling guilty for their suffering. You aren't doing this to them, their own inability to be a whole human being is doing it. You simply stepped out of the way of a falling building. The scratching is just the sound of the dust settling. They are reacting to the loss of their favorite toy, and you are finally realizing you were never a toy. As they continue to pick at their skin, they are also picking at the memories of you. They try to find a flaw in you to justify why you left, but they can't. Your silence is too pure. It doesn't give them any hooks to hang their hatred on. So, the hatred remains inside, circling their mind like a shark, until it eventually bites. They are the ones suffering the consequences now. This is the slow burn of justice. It's not a loud explosion or a dramatic confrontation. It's a quiet, lonely room where a person who once thought they were a god is now clawing at their own face because they can't handle a Tuesday night without your validation. It is pathetic, it is dark, and it is the absolute truth of what they are without you. You were the light. Let that sink in. You weren't the weak one. You were the one holding the entire structure together. The scratching is their body's way of admitting that they are nothing without the light you provided. Now that you've taken your light and moved to a new house, they are fumbling in the dark, hurting themselves just to try and find the door. But you've already locked it behind you. Now we enter the stage of the true collapse. This is where the physical and the psychological merge into a permanent state of agitation. The narcissist's face starts to show the map of their own malice. The scratching isn't just a habit anymore. It's a compulsion. They do it in meetings, they do it while driving, they do it while lying in bed staring at a ceiling that offers no comfort. The consequence of their behavior is a total loss of the charming persona. People start to notice. Friends or colleagues might ask if they're okay, and the narcissist will snap or offer a thin, shaky lie. The mask is no longer fitting correctly. It's itchy, it's painful, and it's falling apart. They are losing the one thing they valued most, their ability to deceive others. Your no-contact rule has created a vacuum that is sucking the life out of their false self. They are experiencing what we call narcissistic mortification. It's a deep, soul-crushing shame that they can't project onto you anymore. So they scratch. They scratch to punish themselves, and they scratch to distract themselves. It's a downward spiral that has no bottom. Think about the specific detail of the face. It's the site of our identity. By damaging it, they are subconsciously acknowledging that their identity is fractured. They feel ugly on the inside, and now that ugliness is leaking out through the pores. They are becoming the very thing they always feared, unappealing, broken, and visible. The secret is out, even if only they know it. The sadness they feel is a cold, clinical grief. It's the grief of a businessman who lost his most valuable asset. They are mourning the loss of the you they owned. Every time they scratch, they are reliving the moment you said no. They are reliving the moment you became a person they could no longer reach. It is a haunting, repetitive trauma that they are inflicting on themselves. There is a profound irony here. They spent so much time trying to scar your soul, trying to leave marks on your heart that would never heal. But in the end, you are the one who is healing, and they are the ones who are literally scarring themselves. The universe has a way of returning energy to its source. The harm they intended for you has finally found its way back home. They might even try to use their injury to hoover you back. They might send a photo where they look unwell, or make sure you hear through the grapevine that they are struggling. Do not be fooled. This is just another tactic. The scratching is real, but the sadness is still selfish. They don't want you back to love you, they want you back to make the itching stop. You must understand that you are not the medicine. You were the bandage that covered up a wound that was already infected long before you met them. By leaving, you didn't create the wound, you just stopped being the one who had to bleed to keep it covered. The scratching is the wound finally being exposed to the air. It's unpleasant, but it is the truth of their condition. The consequences are far-reaching. They lose their focus, their drive, and their ability to pretend. Their life becomes a series of frantic attempts to find a new skin to hide behind. But the scratching follows them. It is a ghost that haunts their nervous system. You have become the one who got away, the one who took the key to their peace and threw it into the deep ocean. This is the dark, honest reality of the narcissist in isolation. It's not a movie where they learn a lesson and change. It's a documentary about a hollow organism that eventually consumes itself when it can't find a host. The scratching is the sound of that consumption. It is a grim, quiet end to a story that they thought they were the hero of. But the hero is actually you. We've looked into the darkness, but now I want to bring you back into the light. This story isn't actually about them and their scratching. It's about you and your freedom. The fact that they are falling apart without you is proof of your immense value. You were the foundation of their world, and you had no idea how much power you actually held. Now, you are using it for yourself. I want you to feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. For years, you were responsible for their emotional regulation. You were the one who had to soothe their itch. You were the one who had to keep their mask from slipping. That job is over. You have been fired from the most exhausting position in the world, and you are finally free to live for your own soul. When you think of them scratching their face, let it be a reminder of why you can never go back. You are a healer, a person with a deep capacity for love. But you cannot heal a person who is fundamentally committed to their own destruction. Your touch would only be a temporary fix for a permanent problem. You deserve a love that doesn't require you to be a human sedative. Look at your own hands. They are for building your new life. They are for holding the hands of people who actually see you. They are for wiping away your own tears as you heal. Your skin is clear of their influence now. You are no longer marked by their chaos. Every day you stay in no contact, you are reclaiming a piece of your identity that they tried to scratch away. There is a beautiful irony in your silence. It is the most eloquent thing you have ever said. It says, I am enough. It says, I am no longer a source of food. It says, you have no power here. While they are in a room scratching at their reflection, you are out in the world, breathing fresh air and realizing that the nightmare is finally, truly over. You have won. This is the secret knowledge I wanted to give you. The narcissist isn't a monster. They are a tragic, hollow shell. Their power was an illusion you helped maintain because of your kindness. Now that you've withdrawn that kindness, the illusion is breaking, and they are left with the physical reality of their own emptiness. It is a sad state, but it is not your burden to carry. I want you to forgive yourself for ever thinking you were the problem. The problem was always their internal void. The scratching was always going to happen, whether it was today or 10 years from now. You just chose to not be there when the mask finally fell off. You chose your own life over their decay. That is not selfish. It is the ultimate act of self-respect and bravery. As you move forward, the memory of them will fade. The pull will get weaker. You will start to see the world in color again. You will realize that you don't need to be anyone's mirror. You are the sun, and you are finally shining for yourself. The marks they made on your life are fading, replaced by the new skin of a person who has survived the fire and come out stronger. Take one last look at the image of the scratching narcissist. Let it be the final period at the end of a long, painful sentence. It is the image of a person who refused to grow, while you are the embodiment of evolution. You have transformed your pain into wisdom. You have turned your trauma into a boundary that is as strong as iron. You are whole, you are safe, and you are free. The truth is simple, even if it took a long time to get here. You were never the one who was broken. You were the one who was keeping the broken person whole. Now that you've walked away, they have to face their own pieces. Let them. Your work is done, and your life is finally your own. You didn't just survive the narcissist, you outgrew the need for their mask.